Hello, hello. How's that sound upstairs? Is that loud enough? Oh, I can't hear you. Does that sound good upstairs? Okay. Okay. If I start seeing puzzled faces in the back row, I'll give you a holler. And okay. Also, they're coloring these vases that they're making with a blow through. So the blow through slide. Okay. Thanks. and make yourselves at home. So these guys are our resident team of glass blowers, and they'll be making some cone-shaped vases blown into a mold. So we're about 3/4 of the way done with this one. Actually, guys, if you guys sit maybe over here in the front row, that's probably your best seat. Okay. No problem. You can always look up at the big screen, too. So, have you guys been here before? Okay. Let me just give you a very quick rundown of how glass blowing works. We have two kinds of furnaces. The ones, like the one straight ahead where you see the door closed, that's our glass furnace. We have two of those. If you look up on the big screen, you'll see a little diagram how they look inside. So in each one of those, we have a big ceramic tank, and in that ceramic tank, we have 1,000 pounds of molten glass. We keep the molten glass at 2,100 degrees, and at that temperature, the glass has the consistency of honey. So if you can imagine a giant crock pot full of honey, that's what our glass furnace is like. When we want to get it out to make stuff, we take one of those steel pipes and we dip it into the molten glass like you dip one of those wooden honey dippers into a jar of honey. So we dip it in, twirl it around, a little bit of the molten glass sticks to the end of the pipe. The pipe is hollow, so when you blow, the glass blows up like a little balloon. If you want to make something larger, we dip it in, blow a little bubble, let it harden. Then we dip it in a second time, or a third time, or fourth time. Just keep coating it with more glass. When we get the glass out of the furnace, it only stays hot for a little while. So we go to the second type of furnace, and that's called the glory hole. The glory holes are all the round guys with the doors open. We stick it into the glory hole for a minute. It gets hot again. It gets soft. And then we can do a little more shaping. So you see them going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So over on the right, Sarah's heating up some contrasting colored glass. And we're going to wind on a little stripe right on the top. And we call that a lip wrap. So it'll just be a contrasting colored stripe right at the very top. So we're just about done with this vase. We're putting the last little finishing touches on the very top. Everything that we make has to be cooled slowly or else it'll break. So once these guys feel that everything is finished, we'll take it off the metal rod and we'll place it in an oven called the annealer, where it'll be cooled slowly overnight. You guys have any questions? There's two kinds of furnaces. The ones where we keep the molten glass, those run at 2100 degrees. The ones where we heat up the glass while we're working, those run at 2300. So we're getting ready to load the finished vase into our annealing oven. If you look to your right, Gabe is putting on some protective clothing. He's going to carry the vase to our annealer. He'll put on some big yellow gloves. The big yellow gloves are made out of Kevlar. Kevlar is a fire-resistant insulating material. When he grabs that vase, it'll be about 1,000 degrees. At that temperature, the glass will be hard. It'll no longer change shape. And we'll place it in the oven to cool overnight. So we take a pair of tweezers, dip them in water, drip a few drops of water where we want the glass to break, and then just give a light tap. Off it comes. We'll stamp it with the Museum of Glass logo. That big black oven, it says number 4, that's the annealer. Each day we heat that up to 920 degrees. We place all the objects that we make during the day in there, and at night we cool everything all at once. So that'll stay hot all day long, and then we'll cool everything overnight. The people working the glass on the floor are our Museum of Glass Hot Shop team. The woman in the red shirt, Sarah Gilbert. The man in the red shirt, Gabe Feenan. And the man in the camo shorts, Ben Cobb. They work for the museum. They're super skilled glass blowers. They're employees of the museum. And they have probably an average of 20 years glass blowing experience under their belt. This week we've had a special guest, Lino Tagliapietra, Venetian master. He's going to be here also tomorrow and next Wednesday. He's the greatest glassblower in the world. Some of his assistants are working on the bench on the far left, and they're preparing what's called Marini, little mosaic tiles for for Lino to use in decorating his pieces. So they'll be working on the bench on the far left, making stuff for Lino. In the center and on the right, we'll be making these cone-shaped vases. So all the glass that's in our furnaces is clear. It has no color. We buy colored glass separately and melt it onto our glass. We buy the colored glass in the form of these bars. We cut off a chunk of whatever color we want to make the object, and then we heat it up and then melt a layer of colored glass onto the clear glass. And that's what these guys are up to on the left. So Sarah has blown a bubble of clear glass. Gabe is heating up a chunk of colored glass. All glass looks orange when it's hot. So that could be blue or red or green or purple. What you're seeing now, that orange color, is the glow from the heat. So we'll drop a big blob of colored glass on top of our clear bubble. And then Sarah will push that back until it entirely coats the original bubble. We call that a color overlay. Do you guys have any questions? So over on the right, Sarah's just dipped our bubble in the clear molten glass. Now she's going to round it out. So Sarah's just rounding that glass out, making it nice and even. The tool in her hand that she's shaping it with is called the block, B-L-O-C-K. It's made out of wood. It's stored in a bucket of water. As long as the wood itself is wet, the tool doesn't burn, nor does it leave any marks as she shapes the glass. Now Sarah's letting the glass cool and stiffen a bit. And then we're going to coat it once more with more molten glass. So Sarah's going to dip it into our big tank of molten glass again and coat it. Each time we dip it in, it's called taking a gather. If we find the bubble that we don't want, at this point we can actually cut it out. So you grab the little bubble, snip it off it goes. Excuse me? Yeah, a little bit, like you would if you worked in the kitchen. No, every once in a while. It's just like cooking. So Sarah's heating up the glass in the big round oven called the glory hole. There's no glass in that oven. It's just a big hot chamber. We keep it at 2300 degrees Fahrenheit, and it runs on natural gas. You notice that Sarah crouched down to the left of the bench. She's the person that's going to be blowing. She'll blow into the steel tube, the blowpipe, and inflate the glass while Ben in the bright blue shirt shapes it. So the ink, pen and ink. So over here we're doing what's called a roller wrap. We're winding on a spiral of a contrasting colored glass. The glass that they're winding on looks orange, but when it cools off, it's going to be black. Do you guys have any questions? Okay. In the center, we're now going to transfer the vase from the rod it was originally blown on to a second steel rod called the punty. This second steel rod is going to act as a handle to hold the vase from the bottom while we shape the top. So we stick the punty, the second steel rod, onto the bottom. When they feel that bond is strong enough, they'll take a pair of tweezers, dip them in water, drip a few drops of water where they want the glass to break, and then a tap on the metal rod will release it. So here he goes, dripping the water on. A little tap, and off it comes. So now the vase is held from the bottom, The top is exposed. The top can now be heated and shaped. You guys have any questions? Oh, it's just a decorative medallion sort of thing. Nope. No, glass melts slowly when we put it in that oven. So it's not like all of a sudden it's going to. Yes. Yes. You guys like to win a piece of glass to take home with you? Okay, here's the wait, don't say yes till you hear the deal. What do you have to do? Yeah, you have to do something. You tell me a subject that you liked in school. I ask you a question. If you get the question right, you get a piece of glass. Okay, who wants to go first? Okay, so what subject and what grade are you in? Okay. Okay, correct. Piece of glass and that. Yeah. Okay, me, you go first. Me. Reading. Okay, can you name me 4 books and the names of the people that wrote the books? The authors. No, you could be by the same author. Like you read a series or something. Oh, thanks for being smart. Who wrote Nancy Drew? You need the author's name. Okay. What? I don't think that's a subject. It's fun, but it's not a subject. What? Okay. subject like spelling or history or art, math. What grade are you in? Second grade? Okay. Oh, I made it too easy for you. Guys are quick pickers. You get one trade to change your mind. Only one. You're welcome. So we'll place the vase in our annealing oven, the big black oven, number 4, and we'll cool it very slowly overnight so it doesn't break. Does anybody have any questions? So over here on the left, we have Darren Dennison and Levi Belber, and they're about to do what's called a roller wrap. So Darren, with the beard, he's got what's going to be the body. Levi in the blue shirt has the colored glass, in this case black, that we're going to wind on. We make a tight little spiral around that rod of glass. That rod of glass will eventually become what we call Marini. See if I have one to show you. Maybe a couple. So we make patterned rods of glass that have the pattern going all the way through them, and then we slice them up, and we get like little mosaic tiles out of them. And then we arrange those little mosaic tiles to make a pattern. So they're making a fancy pattern for Lino, the Venetian master, who's going to be here tomorrow. So they're preparing all the little tiles. All these jars full of different pattern tiles. You guys have any questions?
Fascinating.
Good. Right. No, I mean very little. They're pros. They know what to do. It's you know 3 really good jazz musicians. You put a piece of music in front of them, they know what to do. So there's very little planning of that nature.
So do they kind of take turns in terms of? It seems like one's kind of
Um,
leading
any
one.
one of the team could lead the team on a different day. Um, so today, Sarah and Gabe are preparing the bubble for the vase, and Ben is blowing it out to the full size and shape, but it could be any of them.
Yeah, yeah. So in terms of glass artists, do you rotate like every day, or
No,
people are here doing
I mean this is their
their
job.
thing?
It's
Okay,
not fun. It's not they're not doing it for fun. So
okay.
we invite guest artists to come in from all over the world. Uh, like I said, tomorrow we're going to have a Venetian master. So we have people from Sweden, England, Japan. Um, so today we're making stuff for the gift shop. These conical vases, sort of like that. But tomorrow we'll have a Venetian master here making beautiful sculptural things.
Do they send maybe a request ahead of time to have certain material available to them for their project?
Sometimes, yeah.
So then,
I mean, Lino brought all that. These are just his stuff. And they're making more. Over there, they're making more of the Marini for him.
yeah,
Preparation.
Yeah. So those guys work for him, Lino, on a regular basis. They're not employed by the museum.
how many explorers are there employed by the museum?
We have a core team of 5. Um, the ones who are most often on the floor are these 3. Ben in the blue shirt, Sarah in the red shirt, and Gabe in the red shirt. Um, we have a guy, Nick, who's our technician, but also sometimes he works on the glass blowing floor. And then we have Kristen, who's does all the cutting and grinding, and she also sometimes works on the floor. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions? They are making Marini. They're making rods that have patterns that go all the way through them, like an ice cream cake, sort of. Then we cut them up. Let me get and make them into like little mosaic tiles. Here, here's another one you can look at. So tomorrow, we're going to have a Venetian master by the name of Lino, and those guys work for Lino, and they're preparing the Marini for him. So he make designs out of all these little tiles. So they're making the tiles. These are called. Oh, it depends on the design. Maybe it takes 45 minutes or something to make one rod, and then we chop the rod up into little sections. Yeah, they're making the what design they're making right now has several layers. So you get a layer of clear glass, then we wrap a spiral around it, then we put another layer of clear glass, then we wrap a spiral around that. And once they get the whole design in there, then they'll stretch it out into sort of this width, and then they'll chop it up. These are wooden molds that Lino, the Venetian master, is going to use tomorrow. So we keep the wood wet, so that's why we got the towels on it. Keep it from drying out. Wood, yes. Yeah, when we blow the cone-shaped vase, we're going to blow it into a wooden mold. Oh, no, why should you? No, the wooden molds are always wet, so they don't burn. Those are those are full of Marini, all different designs. So when Lino comes in, he'll lay out a pattern on a ceramic plate like that. We'll pick it up, make it into a sculptural vase. So we want just a thin coating of clear glass. So we dip that in. We drip some of the clear glass off onto the metal table. When that's cool enough to hold its shape, Levi in the blue shirt will grab it, we'll put it in a metal can, we'll save it, and eventually that'll go back in the furnace. You guys have any questions? Yes. No, if we threw it back in now, it would form bubbles. It's gotta be done, Yes, and they're going to be chopped up. Could you pass these around? So we're going to make a rod, a long rod that has a pattern going through it. Could we do the Marini chop chop? So if you look up on the big screen, we make a rod that has a pattern that goes all the way through it, and then we chop off little slices, and then we use those little slices like a mosaic tile to lay out a pattern. Nope, we cut them. We have a little. We have just have a little chopper with a hardened steel edge, and we bang it, and off comes the chip. No, he's probably just going to grab the end and stretch it. Oh, they're still a ways away. They got to put a bunch of layers on. Yeah, that's the one. This is in prep. Well, these guys over on the left are preparing stuff for Lino, the Venetian master, tomorrow. The guys in the center and the right are making vases like this for the store. So Ben, in the bright blue shirt, he just dipped his bubble into the big tank of molten glass, and now he's rounding it out, making it nice and even. The tool in his hand that he's shaping it with is called the block, B-L-O-C-K. It's made out of wood. It's stored in a bucket of water. As long as the wood itself is wet, the tool doesn't burn, nor does it leave any marks as he shapes the glass. The tool looks like a scoop, but we don't scoop up any water in it. We just use it empty. We just want the wood itself to be wet. We cook it. When you cook the glass overnight, any bubbles in there start to rise to the surface and then pop. Nope, it's all molten. Just think about if you had a glass of soda. The bubbles come up to the top, pop, top of the soda is smooth. Well, when we cook the molten glass, it's usually around 2400. And when we're just using it during the day, we keep it around 2100. Yes. Just heat. Can we put up the furnace diagram? So if you look up there, that's what the furnace looks like inside. That's where the behind the where the doors are closed. Can we put up the glory hole diagram? That's what the glory holes look like. They're just basically a brick barrel with a gas burner in the side. So in the center bench, the man in the bright blue shirt is Ben Cobb. The woman in the red shirt is Sarah Gilbert. They're making vases similar to what you see drawn here. Ben's making the bubble. We're going to blow that into a cone-shaped mold. And then we'll finish it off. We'll put a little decorative rim. He's blowing into a wooden mold. It's a hinged mold, has two halves of the shape. When he's cool enough to retain its shape, we'll open the mold and take it out. So they're stretching out the Marini rod. So that rod has a pattern going through the middle, and eventually we're gonna cut it up into little tiles like this called marina. Pattern. We use them to make sort of mosaic patterns on other pieces of glass. So they're like little mosaic tiles almost. This is called Marini. It's a technique that dates back to 2nd, 3rd century BC. Marini. This is exactly what they do in Italy. Murano is the name of an island. That's an island just northeast of Venice where the glass making is concentrated. Marini, yes. And this is making a design out of these little mosaic tiles. Yes. It's on that wooden ladder. So we place those rods in a big black oven called the annealer, and we're going to cool them slowly overnight to relieve all the stress. They'll cut nicely after they're cold, yeah.
Thanks for coaching. Thanks, man.
Oh. You guys have any questions?
What is the path in which the glass blowers took to end up being glass blowers here? I mean, are they?
There is no path.
There is no
There's no-
path. They just
well,
showed
I
up
mean,
one
it's
day?
it's more like learning an instrument than it is like being a lawyer. If you're going to be a lawyer, you got to go to college and go to law school and take a test. There is nothing like that in glass.
But they're trained glass blowers, so they went through training.
Some of them,
Presumably here.
no, not here. No. Some of them learned at work. Some of them learned in art school.
Okay.
Some of them, Ben, for instance, he got a job when he was in high school in a glass blowing studio, part-time job. Learned some of it there. Then he went to art school. Then he's had various jobs ever since.
So is it pretty coveted positions to get a position here? Is it kind of?
Yeah, I mean, we don't. I mean, we've had the same team. I mean, Ben and Gabe have been 10. We don't have that much turnover.
So there's not really a program in which people come
No.
and get trained. Or anything. It's just
Not here. No, no. When they come here, they're already professionals.
and they come from different ways of how they got there.
Yes, they have all different stories.
And you're, I assume, a glass blower as well.
Used to be.
Used to be. You don't anymore.
Only for fun, not professionally.
Commentate.
When I'm here, I'm a tour guide. I have a whole different artistic career.
Oh, okay.
When I'm
So
here,
what
I'm
is
a tour guide.
What is your other medium? Do you do a different medium then?
No, no, I do enameling on glass. I was a professional glass blower for 10 years.
Here or
In Seattle, not here.
not
no.
at the museum?
There still is. Well, it's the same people. They've moved up to a storefront, but it's the same shop. The Glass House, it's called.
Stand outside the window.
When the glass is hot, it glows orange. So it's like if you look at the wires in a toaster. When they're hot, they glow orange. Electric stove, when the burners are hot, they glow orange. So you're seeing the orange glow. As the glass gets cooler, as they make it, the glow starts to disappear, and you start to see the actual color of the glass. So if that was blue, we started out it was blue. When we get it hot and work it, looks orange for a little while. The glow fades, and then you see the blue again.
So whatever the color becomes the original color. So it can't change through the process.
There are, well, not most of the glasses, no. There are special glasses that are made to change color when you heat them. But For the most part, yeah. There's special glasses called striking glasses that, you know, that they maybe look clear, and when you heat them and cool them, they turn milky white. All different things. We have a whole bunch of different programs. Today, well, these guys are working for our guest artist, Lino Talia Pietra. And when Lino comes, he just makes stuff and takes it home with him. These guys are making stuff for the store. We have a contest for kids where we make sculptures from kids' drawings. So they're making a flower vase. She's going to carry the finished vase to our annealing oven where it will be cooled slowly overnight. If we just made it and set it on a table, it would cool too quickly and unevenly and it would shatter.
Where is that she's taking it over there? The number 4?
We don't take it off till it's hard.
Oh, okay. So she'll.
It's hard now just like it is.
Oh, so she can't
You can't squeeze it.
squeeze it or change shape or anything.
So you heat up a little spot on the bottom and stamp it with our Museum of Glass logo. So let's have a hand for the Museum of Glass Hot Shop team. Yeah, there are two kinds of torches. There's the one with the big bushy flame, that's propane and air. The one with the concentrated blue-white flame is propane and oxygen. The propane and oxygen torch is hotter. It's probably around 5,000 degrees. The propane and air torch is probably around 3,500.
So is that kind of a progression to cool it down, or is that just to do different things?
A hot one. The propane and air one is less hot, but it covers a broader area. The propane and oxygen is more hot, covers a smaller area.
Depending on how you what you want to heat up at times.
Yeah, if you want to heat up a big area, you use the big one. If you want to heat up a little area, or we want to get something super hot, you use the. You guys have any questions? That's how we cut it.
This orange, yellow, and red. Are those are glass? Is
Yes.
that like the starter?
No, those are called skeins. We
Oh,
use
that's
them to
what you
make
use.
stripes
In the.
in other pieces of glass. So if I melt this white piece of glass onto this amber piece, I'll have a white stripe.
Right. Okay. So you'll just take the pieces of that and put it on.
Yeah, we draw out two long ones, and then we cut it up into little pencil sized sections that you actually use. Yeah, they're making another vase. That's how it starts.
Oh, you do exactly what they just did.
What the job is, or do they get a list of you're gonna make 3 bases and
Oh, it's all over the map. There's no one procedure.
is it up to them or there's a
Sometimes it comes down from upstairs.
Somebody
Sometimes they
plans it.
decide. So sometimes we have guest artists. The guest artists is here. They decide.
Is this open 7 days a week? And there's always
It's 5 days in the winter and 7 in the summer. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not as good as they are. You guys like to win a piece of glass to take home with you?
How do you do that?
That's a good question. You tell me a subject that you like in school. I ask you a question. If you get the question right, you get a piece of glass.
Okay. Okay. Math.
And what grade are you in?
Third.
Third grade? Have you done multiplication?
Yeah.
single digit multiplication.
Paper, right? your glass.
Did you do it?
Yeah, it was 144 dimensional. You could do it.
Stuff looks good, Duffy. I know.
You should be careful.
You're welcome. So if you look at the center or look up on the big screen, you'll see Gabe is making a little glass pony.
This guy right through the middle.
This is what the ponies look like when they're done.
That's
And
cool.
they just do that with the
Ferris
instrument
tweezers.
for tweezers when it's hot.
Wait, where's the
And is
tail?
it hollow
Oh, I'm
inside?
holding the tail's a little sharp. Yeah. You can touch it.
Is it hollow inside?
Nope, solid.
That's cool.
Totally get it.
The raw materials on something like that, is that expensive or it's more the craftsmanship with the
It's the craft. Well, it's a lot of things.
just curious if the
Craftsmanship.
glass
It's the
itself
energy.
costs
No,
like
glass itself is cheap.
yeah, yeah. It's the
It's
energy
just melted sand.
running all this equipment it costs a lot of money.
Yes, it's energy intensive,
Yeah.
as the labor and.
Right. Get that.
Creativity of the art.
Yeah. The raw material
If
is
this was a business, it would be a terrible, terrible business. The Kids Design movie. This video will show you what we've done with some of the kids in the past.
It's a baby monster. Pip is a baby monster that loves to smile and laugh. Even though he's little and cute, he gives a big cry. Also, Pip loves food, especially bananas. He will eat any speck of food in sight.
Oh, it's amazing. Totally amazing. And especially if they pieces of art go traveling around, other kids will see, oh my gosh, I could do that too. You know, it's not just somebody else that, you know, they did it, you know, I couldn't do that. Absolutely not. Anyone can do this. And I think that's what it shows the kids.
Maybe not everybody can win them.
But, and
I think it's gonna stand up there with one of the coolest things that a museum has ever done.
What is it? A cucumber all dressed up for a night on the town? That's pretty ridiculously funny.
The funnest part about this project is how fresh the ideas are coming from the kids who they have no idea of glass blowing techniques. They don't care.
Nobody saw this coming. We'd make one piece and it was given to the family. And then we realized, well, wait a second, there's something more here. We started to get more drawings, more interesting drawings, and it really kind of snowballed a little bit.
Bacon Boy was special. The hat almost looks like a frying pan.
Maybe he's wearing Fred.
Bacon. I don't really do any work when I use it. It's bacon.
bacon, baby.
It's mine.
All I see.
How's that for his arm? Fingers?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it really brings it home and really shows that, you know, there's an artist in all of us, I think. So, and it's human nature to be creative. So I think we lose that as we get older sometimes, and it's cool to see this pure creative nature that children possess. So I think it's cool to share that with the rest of the world, hopefully. So.
Thank you for supporting Kids Design Glass.
So if anybody's here with kids, go into the lobby. Look to your left. You'll see a little glassed-in arts and crafts room. Go in there. We have paper and markers and everything you need. So in the center, Ben Cobb, our Museum of Glass Hot Shop team, is going to blow a vase that'll look something like this drawing here. We have a wooden mold. The wooden mold is kept wet. Ben is preparing the glass bubble. We'll drop it into the mold, close the mold around it, and blow. So Ben's getting his bubble really hot and soft. We drop it into the mold, close the mold around it. He's going to blow and turn. If we didn't turn, then we'd get a little mark where the two halves of the mold come together. But by turning it, keep the whole surface smooth. She's making a little notch where we can break it off. Do you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any questions? Do you guys have any questions? Good. So we're putting a little decorative spot on the base of the vase. He's got to make it soft, and then we're stamping it almost like you'd use wax in a seal. So the next thing we're going to do is transfer this vase from the rod it's originally blown on to a second steel rod called the punty. This second steel rod is going to act as a handle to hold the vase from the bottom while we shape the top. Okay, the colors in glass come from mostly metals dissolved in the glass when it's first cooked up. Not everything that colors glass is a metal, but most of the colors are. So if you cook it up with cobalt, you get blue, chromium, you get green, a little bit of gold, you get pink. So it's not always the color that you expect. They're making marini.
So it's what they did before. They put all the different colors in and they stretched out long, right?
Right.
Like they did before. Remember the two little snakes?
Chop it up and make a bunch of those. We'll use those to make mosaic patterns.
So they keep putting other things on the outside and new colors on the inside.
Oh, so we can see how the color looks when it's blown out, when it's thin.
Okay.
See, a lot of the colors are so dense that all these bars look black. But right. So some of these colors are, this might be blue, it might be green. Can't see it till it's blown out there.
Are those sticks enough to make a
Oh, we just make one skinny layer of the color. Most of the thing is made out of clear glass.
Okay.
So here, you can see here, it looks colored, but
Can you color two
only need the sticks to make this skinny layer. The rest of it is clear glass.
Sticks started as you have to combine the metal with the clear glass.
Yeah, those are, I mean, some of these are commercial ones that we bought from companies, they're like basically like a paint company that sell resin paint. And Nino, the Venetian master, he hooks up some of the stone colors. So basically, the bars that are all nice and straight, like this, are the commercial ones.
Right.
The ones that are kind of lumpy are the home-made colors. So next thing we're going to do is add a contrasting colored stripe to the top of the vase. This is called a lip wrap. Sarah, over on the right, is heating up the colored glass for the lip wrap. And Ben in the center is trimming some of the glass off the top of the vase. When glass is hot, you can cut it with a scissors. You guys have any questions? You guys have any questions? Why it's so hot? Because glass is only soft when it's really hot. When we get it really hot, we can make it soft and we can shape it into different things. Yeah. We're gonna make some more. Well, we stamps it with the Geneva glass logo. Does anybody have any questions? They are making Marini. We make long rods with a pattern that goes all the way through. Then we chop them up into little pieces, and we use those little pieces like mosaic tiles. But they're making the. Let's see if I. So over on this side, they're about to do, it's called a roller wrap. So one of the glass blowers has some contrasting colored glass, and we're going to wind it around the other piece of glass in a big spiral. They'll set it on these rollers. These are called eccentric rollers. And when they spin it on the rollers are canted slightly, so it'll spin, but it'll also move backward at the same time. And that'll wind it on in a perfect spiral. So you can see Darren in the dark gray cap. He's got this part of the glass. And Levi's coming. And as we spin it, it winds on a pretty uniform spiral. A Marini rod that's unstopped that I can show people?
Geez, I don't know. I've got here, probably somewhere. Nope. Maybe it was like down in the color room.
Possibly, yeah. Thanks for coming in, guys. Is there a Marini rod that's unchopped? Lying around somewhere? I think I might have one at home. Does anybody have any questions? So if you look in the center, Gabe is making a little glass pony. He's got a pair of tweezers and a ball of hot glass. And he's just going to keep pinching it. Up. Is it a pony? Maybe it's something else. Oh, it's a cat. It's a messed up cat. glass down slowly overnight. Each day we heat it up to 920 degrees. We place everything we make during the day in there, and then at night it's got a little computerized thermostat, and it slowly, slowly turns it down to room temperature.
So do you recycle all the glass that they don't use?
No. We recycle our clear waste. We can't recycle our colored waste.
So it just goes into the landfill?
Just goes to the landfill. It's clean. What? Just melted sand.
No, I was thinking because so you can't because it's been heated up. You can't.
No, because the furnace where we melt the glass is all clear. So we can't throw little bits of red and purple and blue in there because that would muck it up.
And then there isn't a way to have a how technology doesn't support that at this point.
No, it's just not practical.
I was asking, curious.
When we get tiny, tiny bits of purple and a tiny bit of green.
Absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, and we'd have to wait till we got a couple of 100 pounds of green waste, consolidate and build another furnace. The energy that it would take to remelt it far outweigh the waste of the glass.
Oh, I just curious on what happened when I saw the
The furnace that contains the molten glass is 2100 degrees. The furnace, once we reheat it, while we're working, those are 2300.
How many feet do you use?
What?
How many feet do you use?
Each ones are probably around 400,000. Just heating up a very small space very hot.
Do you keep on overnight?
The furnaces are on all the time. The ones with the molten glass, they're on 24/7. The round ones, they're only on during the working day. So we have two things going on the center bench and on the bench on the far right. We're making these cone-shaped vases for the gift store. On the bench on the far left, we're making what's called Marini. We're making little sort of mosaic tiles that one of our guest artists is going to use tomorrow. So we're making patterned rods. Can we put up the Marini Chop Chop? So if you look up on the big screen, we make a rod that has a pattern that goes all the way through it, and then we chop it up into little sections, and we use those little sections like mosaic tiles. It's called Marini. No one really knows. They think it might be there was a rock, a mineral called Murra, M-U-R-R-A. And we think it might have derived from that, but nobody really knows. What? Not from Murra. We date. Really date around our life. Almost 1,000. Yes. What? I thought you just asked. Were going to ask me a question. Throwing away the glass. Oh, we want to. we're making the design we're making has several layers to it. We want the clear layer to be very thin. So we dip it in, we scrape off as much as we can, and then the big blob that we scraped off goes into that steel can, and we'll save that, and eventually that'll go back in the furnace. Yes. They are making Marini. They're making a rod that has a fancy pattern going through the middle. Then later on we're gonna chop that up into little mosaic tiles. So we're gonna chop it up into little pieces that have a little design in the middle. So the design goes all the way through, and then we'll chop it up. So they're making the design right now, which is several layers of this spiral black glass. Do you guys have any questions? Gabe Feenan. Gabe Feenan. Oh yeah, could be. Yeah, it could be. I think he's taught at Pittsburgh. So Eric has the long rod, the Marini rod. We'll break it off, lay it on the wooden ladder to cool a little bit, and then we'll place it in our annealing oven where we'll cool it overnight. Eventually get it cut up into the little tiles. Here in the center, we're adding a little decorative seal. We put a blob of glass on the side of the vase, and now we're taking a brass stamp and stamping the Museum of Glass logo into the hot molten glass. So the next thing we're going to do is transfer the glass from the rod it was originally blown on to a second steel rod called the punty. This second steel rod will hold the vase from the bottom while we shape the top. When we feel that the bond is strong enough, we'll drip a little water on the top. The water will crack the glass, and then just a light tap will release it. So now the vase is held from the bottom, the top is exposed, the top can now be heated and shaped. The furnaces are the ones that have the big tanks of molten glass in them. The glory holes are just a hot chamber to soften and heat up the glass and soften it while we work. There's no glass in the glory hole.
I've seen glory holes before from Vancouver, Canada. But I hadn't seen such a big furnace. Wow.
Furnace is where we keep the glass. Nope. We have this clear glass in the furnace, and we buy colored glass in various forms, and then melt it onto our glass. You guys have any questions? Yes. Right. Well, it makes them. We can get a particular part hot without heating up the whole thing. So when we put it in the big oven, it gets the whole thing hot. If we just want one spot hotter, we use a torch. Depends what you're making. These days, it's probably taking about 40 minutes, 30, 40 minutes. We make dinosaurs that took 6.5 hours. What? How much of a? Oh, I don't know. Go look in the store. We don't sell them here. We sell them in the store. I don't think so. No. Our guys made it, but not me. Does he make glass? Oh, he has a long time ago, but he has his own studio in Seattle. You guys like to win a piece of glass to take home with you? And here's the deal. You tell me a subject that you like in school. I ask you a question. You get the question right, you get a piece of glass. Reading? What grade are you in? Sixth grade? Can you name me 5 books and the names of the people that wrote the book? So if you look to your right, you'll see Sarah's put on some protective clothing. She's going to carry the finished vase to our annealing oven. Everything that we make here has to be cooled slowly or else it'll break. So we'll put it in the annealer, big black oven at the right side of the studio, and we'll cool it slowly overnight. You can do more than one book from the same author. You heat up a spot on the bottom, make it soft, and we stamp it with the museum logo. What grade are you in? Third grade? You know how to single digit? Oh, this is going to help you. So if you look in the center, you'll see Sarah. She's dipped her pipe, her blowpipe, in molten glass. She's going to roll it on that steel table into a cylindrical shape. And then she's going to blow one puff of air into the steel tube and close it up with her thumb. The heat from the glass itself will expand the air and blow out the initial bubble. So just one puff. Here she goes. Her thumb's on the end. If you look at the glass, you'll see the bubbles slowly pop out. That's called capping, and that's how we start almost every hollow object that we make. So over on the far right, Gabe, the man in the red shirt, is heating up a chunk of colored glass. Sarah has blown a bubble of clear glass, and we're going to melt a layer of the colored glass over the clear glass. This is called a color overlay. We buy our colored glass in various forms. We buy it like an artist buys paint, and then we just melt a layer of whatever color we want the object to be. If you look at this sample here, it looks yellow, but if you cut through it, you would see it's just that one skinny layer. So Sarah will push that back till it coats the entire bubble, and then she'll dip it in more clear glass till we have enough glass to make whatever we're making. Correct. More interesting. French, outer space, dinosaurs. tell me which the closest planet to the sun? Correct. You want to try? Okay. You tell me a subject that you like in school. I ask you a question. You get the question right, you get a piece of glass. Does that sound fair? So tell me a subject and tell me what grade you're in. You like to read? Okay. So you got to name me 4 books and the names of the people that wrote the book. Okay. You want to try? Okay. Tell me a subject that you like and what grade you're in. Toys isn't a subject. Subject that you study in school. Spelling, math, art. Math. Second grade. You drop the book. Good. You're right. Okay, there's 2 kinds of ovens. The ones with the doors closed are called the glass furnaces. Those have the big tanks of molten glass in them. There are 2 of them. The round ones with the doors open are called glory holes. Those have no glass in them. They're just a big brick barrel with a gas burner in the side. We use them for reheating and softening the glass as we work it. Yep. The furnaces run at 2100 degrees Fahrenheit. The glory holes run at 2300. So 6.5 times what it takes to cook a turkey. The furnaces are on all the time. The glory holes are only on during the working day. So we're going to pick up our fancy Marini rods, place them in our annealing oven, where they'll cool slowly overnight to remove any stress. You guys have any questions? Good? What? It's not cold in there. That's an electric oven. That's 920 degrees. Well, when we're making it, when it's 2100, when the molten glass comes straight out of the furnace. When we're sitting at the bench working it, it's usually between about 1800 and 1300. When we're finally ready, done with it, we let it cool down to about 1000. The glass is a very bad conductor. Just FYI, tomorrow and Wednesday, we're going to have the world's greatest glassblower, Lino Tagliapietra, a Venetian master. He'll be here working in our studio from 9 to about 2. He's started when he's 11. He's now 83. And he's still working the glass just like you see these guys. So obviously a lot of you won't be here, but you can watch it on YouTube. If you type in Museum of Glass, we have a channel on YouTube, and you can watch it from home. Take care. Thanks for coming in. All these jars are filled with Marini. Different patterns, different colors.
Wow. Oh, look at the stars.
You can make anything. Dogs.
So the ones that look like today look more like this way?
Yes. And they're going to be cut up same way. They'll look like little kind of sort of like brush strokes.
Right.
We'll cut it up.
Wow. Wow.
We make everything in sort of a long rod,
That's more.
and then we chop little
so
slices
cool.
off, and each slice has the same pattern.
Wow. That's neat. I do fused glass, formed glass. So, yeah, not hot. That's amazing. I love all this.
It's always fun to watch them work here.
These guys are good. These are some of the best.
Yeah.
Like when you see how fast, what would that take them, about 15 minutes to do the, 15, 20 minutes to do the one jar, or the bonds, that's
Oh, the vase, yeah.
really impressive.
They make it look easy.
These guys are very good. It's not easy.
Yeah, I suspect
No.
it's not easy. It never looks easy when or it never, the good ones make it look easy.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I like the way they get the outside. Just put an extra coating on the inside. Like the one with the white. So it must be. Okay, they get the colors and then they stretch it along. It's hard to see how they get the star. How do they get the stars? Say.
You guys have any questions? A vase. Cone-shaped vase. Put flowers in. Right. This is decoration. Ben in the blue shirt, 24 years. Gabe in the red shirt, 21. Sarah, I think 18. Just getting started. And these guys are world-class glassblowers. You're looking at some seriously talented folks. Yeah, we tend to always work in teams. So now we're winding on a little decorative stripe on the top. That's called a lip wrap. These three work for our guest artist, Lino Tagliapietro. They're preparing, so he's going to be here tomorrow. They're preparing stuff for him.
Yeah, I wonder if that's that long piece you just put in the kiln or whatever. I wonder if that was a preparatory piece for.
Yeah, let's see. So Lino's going to make stuff with these they're called Marini. And so we make a long rod that has a pattern going all the way through. And then we chop up little sections. And we use these little sections to make sort of a mosaic.
Wow.
So they're making these.
But like this one.
So they make a long rod, and then we'll chop it up into, 100 of these.
And then place them in a mosaic pattern.
Yeah, where is a? I don't know if they're there, but.
Are these just raw glass? Is that what these are? Or?
Yeah, those are called cane, and we usually cut them up into small pencil-sized section and melt them into other pieces of glass to make stripes.
Wow.
So these are basically stripes.
So when artist is here tomorrow, will there be 10 people supporting that one effort?
It'll probably be, it's like 60. It'll probably be, 67.
At the same time, and then
All using different parts of the project.
Is it? We already know what the project is, or no? It's on its own.
Lino doesn't really plan much.
Oh, really?
It's pretty much all in his head. Half the time they don't know what he's up to.
Yeah, and he just
Can we play the pony video?
Too many museums and not enough time to volunteer.
You can touch it if you want. I'm just gonna hold on to the tail because it's sharp.
They have those in the store.
Nope. We don't sell 'em.
I volunteer at two museums. OMSI down in Portland.
What's the name of the museum?
OMSI, Oregon Museum of Science and Industry.
Okay.
Down in Portland. They have I retired from the Navy and they have a retired submarine down there. I'm one of the tour guides for that. And the Air Aviation Museum in Michigan in the summertime. Well, you want to go look somewhere else? Okay.
You guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If we make something and we just put it on a table and let it cool on its own, it'll cool too quickly and it'll break. So we put it in that oven over there and we cool it very, very slowly. And that prevents it from breaking. That's called annealing.
Does the oven gradually cool?
Yes, it's got a computerized thermostat, so we can set it for 12 hours or 24 hours, and it'll just slowly, slowly turn on temperature. Can we play the pony video? So Ben is trimming the top of the vase. The glass at the very top is always a little bit thick, so we stretch it out and then trim some of that off. When glass is hot, you can cut it with a scissors. We're actually almost done. We're about to take lunch probably when we finish this phase. Yeah. These are called Marini. They're like little glass tiles that we use to make a mosaic pattern. Each jar has a different pattern or color. What? We lay them out like this, and we blow what looks like a little hemisphere. We grab the pattern, and then we blow it, and it stretches the flat pattern into a kind of a 3D shape. No, these are for tomorrow. We're having a different artist here tomorrow, and these all belong to him. He's the greatest glass blower in the world. started when he's 11. He's now 83. He's still working. No, I don't think so, but I have a book I can show you. It's all booked about him. What? They're making a vase. Yeah, to put flowers in. What? A decoration. So we're going to take the finished vase and place it in our annealing oven. And that will cool slowly overnight. So that concludes our demonstrations for this morning. We'll be taking an hour lunch. We'll be back in an hour, blowing more glass.